Hey, we're back on the air with Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Institute. Get ready with a pencil and a paper because in 10 minutes, Robin will be along and give you contact information so that you too can benefit from the stages of life. Well, the grandkids are coming down for the summer, but actually you should already be armed for this. You need to know the basic first aid things you need in your house. And I kind of was poking around my house the other day, and I was looking for a Band-Aid. I couldn't even find a Band-Aid, for crying out loud. I thought every house should have a big first aid kit, plus some other things as well. But, Doctor, what do we need to stock our house for family when they come into town, for the grandkids when they come into town, or just for us?
Okay, well, it works something like this, at least it does in my mind's eye. We live in Florida. This is the great Southeast, okay? It's a tropical or subtropical paradise, depending upon precisely where you live. And we have multiple threats that exist in our environment on a daily basis. They're going to be there whether you like them or not, whether you know about them or not, and they will be a bigger threat if you don't pay attention to what I'm about ready to tell you. Okay, having a small first aid kit is about the bare minimum that a Girl Scout's going to have when they go on a weekend outing. That's about it. Okay, there's little boxes with the red crosses on them. They're marvelous. You know, you have a little bit of methylate in there if you can still find that kind of stuff. You may find a Band-Aid or two or a bandage. You might even find a tourniquet that doesn't fit.
Hold it. If any of you are younger than 40 and you wonder what methylate is, ask Grandma.
Yeah, you can't find it anymore. No, I mean the stuff was marvelous, but it had mercury in it. Okay, but what you're looking for is you're looking for these kits. Are they worth anything? The answer is probably not, unless you need a Band-Aid. Now, here's the issue. Okay, there are multiple types of safety issues that you need to be prepared for, whether it's going to be an insect bite, whether it's an animal bite, whether it's an infection, whether it's a flood, whether or not your sewage system goes bad. All of these things happen here. They happen with some regularity. The people that live in the highlands here are at 40 feet above sea level. Okay, when you have pumping stations necessary to get rid of your sewage, you're going to understand what happens when we end up with a heavy rainstorm, or worse yet, when we end up with a hurricane. Sewage systems back up, and then all of a sudden, that little box, that little Girl Scout thing that you thought was going to be very useful to you is not going to protect you very well at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with insect bites. We're going to move on to infection. Then we're going to work with something called kitchen safety, okay? And it's not something you're going to be able to fit into a small box. Okay, insect bites, okay? The most dangerous animal in the world is not the lion, it's not the rhinoceros, it's not the hippopotamus, it's not the alligator, it's the mosquito. More people die of fly and mosquito bites worldwide than any other animal bite. Okay, why? Because the infectious disease that goes along with it, whether it's malaria, dengue fever, whether it's scrub typhus, murine typhus, doesn't make any difference. It could be the plague. These things are all borne by mosquitoes. So what do? One of the very first things you need to consider, okay, is what happens when the system breaks down. We just ended up with Hurricane Ronnie, okay? It just rolled through. Okay, now the roads are down, the water system's not working so well, the electrical system's not working so well, and guess what? If those things don't happen, where you are at right now, your water doesn't work. Okay, so how do we handle this? Okay, now the mosquitoes become an even bigger problem. So one of the things that you have to have around the house is going to be insect repellent, for Christ's sake. Okay, this stuff has got to exist in your house and not in small amounts. Why? Because this may well protect you from the secondary infections that happen in the event of a storm. Nobody ever thinks about that. You know, you look at the hurricane preparedness guides. They don't look at this stuff. Okay, very, very important. Where would you go looking for water? Where would you go for water to bathe, to cook, or do anything else in the event that the system goes down? And how do you prepare that water? So having 5 or 6 gallons of Clorox sounds like a pretty good idea to me. Why? Because in a pinch, okay, you could dip a pail in the swimming pool, okay, add some chlorine to it, and now you have water with which you can wash, cook, and to some extent drink. If you're understanding how dilution works with chlorine, okay. So what do we have? Okay, insect bite, Benadryl. Okay, over-the-counter Benadryl. Why? Because one of the issues with insect bites, very few people are ever allergic to the first time they've been bitten by anything. Subsequent bites, you become more and more likely to become allergic. You get bitten by 500 or 600 mosquitoes. Okay, Benadryl or something similar is going to be very, very necessary for you to have on hand. Insect bite, topical, very, very important. Local anesthetics, topical local anesthetics. Phenol, 1% phenol, sometimes known as chloroseptic by brand, okay, is a marvelous topical anesthetic. Topical lidocaine. You end up with an injury, you have to wait for somebody to show up. Topical local anesthetics can be very, very, they're not necessarily going to be life-saving, but they certainly are going to keep the kids from screaming too loud. What about splint material? Okay, so the most dangerous thing in your house, provided you're not stupid enough to have a trampoline out back. Okay, if you have a trampoline out back, you deserve to have the increase in your homeowner's insurance. Okay, because that voids many homeowners' policies, by the way, in this state. Okay, trampolines void your homeowners' policies. Okay, is your ladder. Okay, people fall off ladders. Now, the folks within the listening audience in this, okay, have little or no business going up and down a ladder. If you have any issues with vertigo, any issues with balance, people fall off ladders all the time. It is the single most common household event that can lead to death. Okay, it's not electrocution. It's not poisoning. It's not even shooting your spouse. It's falling off a ladder. Okay, so ladder safety is key. Okay, so people go out and the ladders they buy, these cheap little pieces of garbage, okay, that can't sit still, or even better, they take them out into the yard. Okay, now look down, look up. You see sky, you look down, you see sand, right? Okay, this is Florida. These ladders don't do well. They don't hold four legs in sand, so you have to have special equipment to go climbing up into trees. Okay, so I have on a weekly basis, I'll end up with one patient or more that end up falling off a ladder. Okay, and my second question is how did you hurt yourself? Is what kind of idiot are you? Okay, and this is a multiple choice test. I'm going to give you several choices. So first thing we need to look at is insect bite. Second thing, okay, is going to be aftercare. Okay, so typical antibiotic ointment needs to be present, and this stuff has a very, very long shelf life. You need to have Vaseline on hand. You need to have mineral oil on hand. You need to have peroxide on hand. You need to have Clorox on hand, because if you had to prepare bandages, you have a mass casualty situation. Okay, somebody came into your home, okay, with the front end of a car, for God's sake. Okay, never happens around here in Orlando, especially daycare centers. Yeah. Okay, so you have to start preparing bandages. You can take a shirt, okay, and sterilize it by soaking it in Clorox. Okay, and in a pinch it works. So there are things that you can do that may save your life or may save somebody else's life. I mentioned briefly a tourniquet. Okay, tourniquets were something that we were trained to use when I was in the Scouts. I was trained to use it when I was in the military. And I was also trained not to use it when I was in general surgery. Okay, because unless you tighten those puppies up hard, they actually cause more bleeding. So, First things first. Okay, pressure, okay, on a bleeder is necessary. So cotton gauze, cotton balls, tape, rubber tape, paper tape, and something odd, okay? What's that? The multiple uses of duct tape, okay? Because duct tape, okay, duct tape is marvelous stuff. It's not just for rednecks anymore. This stuff is marvelous with regards to being able to stabilize a joint. Okay, one day I was driving back from Duke. I forgot where I was, and a car had driven off the street, ended up in a tree because the street was elevated in a fork in the tree. And so I climbed up into the tree and started pulling people out, right? There was somebody there with a broken leg, broken femur. So I had to do something to extricate this patient or person before the ambulance could get there. Okay, this is really stupid, but I did it anyway. So I went outside the car into the tree and chopped off a branch, used the shoulder harness to tie the branch onto this person's leg as we got the patient out of the car. So there are many, many things that you can use for splint materials, okay, but you should have them handy. But think in advance. Write it down, get your stuff, go to Costco, go to wherever you want to, Dollar General, get what you want, but have it handy because you do, in fact, want to avoid the rush.
Duct tape. Never take off in a shuttle without it. Robin.
Duct tape is awesome. Give us a call at 407-679-3337. See us on the web at stagesoflife.net. Our office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and our health store is open during office hours. We are also, located in Longwood at 1917 Booth Circle. That's right off of I-4 and 434. And check us out on Facebook at Stages of Life Medical Institute.